There we go. Welcome to episode 128 of SideQuest. What's going on, guys? Obviously,
Yeah.
Tefty is not here.
Obviously.
He's busy learning how to blow the cocaine away from his nose, but make it look like he's sucking it up. You know, narc stuff.
Oh.
Right. So when he's undercover, people aren't suspicious now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because they always make it like
Naturally.
when you're doing the sale, they make you like, you know, you got to do it with me to prove you're not a cop.
Right.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
narc stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Mark stuff.
What's going on, guys? I heard you guys been playing a little game called Lost Ark.
Yes.
Yes.
Little game.
All the time.
This game, like, so it's been a very popular game in Korea and Russia for a few years. So people are expecting it to be, you know, somewhat popular when it comes over here. But this has just been nuts. It's been like almost 1.4 million concurrent players on Steam, which broke every record of every game. They've
Damn.
got crazy amounts of viewership on Twitch. They added on launch day, my server, which was US West, we had like 3 servers you could choose from. On launch day, they added like 20. And they're just adding new servers every day. They're like, whoop, gotta add another 20 servers.
You need some more.
Did they have a smooth launch? Like,
Yes and no.
yes and no? Okay.
Founders was it was the early access period of like 3 days. That was super smooth. Nothing wrong at all. And that was already, they sold 1.5 million founders packs. So like that's a lot of people.
That's a lot.
And then when it went free to play, where everyone could join, servers, it basically, they delayed their official launch time from 9 a.m. to like 2:15 p.m. So honestly, it seemed more of an issue of not that servers couldn't handle it, but the issue of switching from only founders can join to now everyone can join. So it seemed like it caused some kind of bug because like characters weren't there when people were logging in. Like it was more issues than just servers are busy.
Yeah.
So I think some kind of funky stuff happened. But yeah, it's been smooth since then. Since they figured whatever that was out, and they've added a bunch of servers. There are still some queues, though I've never had a queue.
Big queues. The queues
I've
are
never had a.
astronomical.
You're in EU, so I know
Yeah.
EU has been suffering. Me, I've never had a queue in my life. I don't know
Really?
her. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
I
so, like,
I picked an ugly name for the server. I was like, which server are people gonna hate?
What is the name of your server? Do you not want to say? Are you trying to hide it? Okay.
But I like going en Visca de Oro because it sounds like
fair enough.
That's like
yeah.
not bad.
The thing is, for me, like during the early access window, there were like no queues and stuff. But yeah, on now, like it's all right because I'm like an early morning person. So when I get up in the morning, I get a no queue. But if you try and get on any time from, I mean, now if you try and get any time from sort of like 10, 11 onwards, there's a small queue. If you try with like, if you want to come on like the afternoon after work and it's like 5 p.m., you're not going to be on for like 2-3 hours. Like the queues are stupidly big. Like I was queuing 2 hours on like an 8,000 person queue, and I saw someone on like 20,000 people the other day. So I was like, you're not going to be on for a while. So my plan, yeah. I was saying my plan like recently has literally been like get on in the morning and then just play throughout the day. And if I have to go and get lunch, I just like I'm not one of those people that's hogging the queue. But if I have to go and get lunch, I'm just gonna run in the corner for a minute, and then I can come back and I'm still there.
Just put an elastic band around the controller.
EU has been it's been so bad that they didn't just add like new servers. They added like a whole other like server farm. They weren't just adding like, okay, here's like 2 more servers so you can get in. They added like a whole other thing.
I remember Final Fantasy just had their expansion, and they were going through this, right? Where they actually stopped selling the game for a period of time.
They did.
So that they could just catch up. Yeah. But they had said that the problem wasn't that they didn't want to expand how many servers they had. It's that you can't buy servers because of the chip shortage.
Of course.
Right. Yep.
So like, normally I think when a new big multiplayer game launches, you got to kind of, okay, it's going to be a little rough at the beginning, but it sounds like it's not too rough in America at least, but a little more rough in Europe. But hopefully they could get it sorted out. Maybe reallocate some stuff.
Also, US East was pretty bad. I think it might just be me. It might just be my
You're just lucky.
specific US
Really?
West server. No one, although, it's always a game of you try and avoid the big streamers, right? Because everyone wants to go, like Asmongold, all those like guys sitting with 300,000 viewers on Twitch. You don't want to be on their server because everyone's gonna go there to try and find them and follow them everywhere. So
Mm.
you try and get some early intel on where all the super famous people are. Don't go there, and pick a
True.
name that seems least inviting, where people are like,
So how is the
Yeah,
game? How has your experiences been?
great.
It's
Yeah?
so good.
So this game plays like Diablo, but it's a multiplayer. It's an MMO, right? Am I getting that pretty much right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely it's one of your typical sort of like isometric action style combat, but it is honestly of like the best kind of game that I've played in this sort of spectrum in terms of like feedback for moves. Because like I love Diablo, play that a load. The other, of course, like big one a lot of time people will often ask about is things like Path of Exile. Path of Exile was one that never clicked for me because that one, and what you find with a lot of these games is that like they have all these cool abilities. When you're like running through trash mobs, there's like zero hit lag or anything, so it just feels like you're cutting through paper, which I often find like after a while gets a little bit stale. In Lost Ark, even if you're playing mouse and keyboard, so you have literally no rumble or feedback, you feel all those moves. Like some of the moves look so incredible, and it is just like I've never played like a game like this that just has that kind of that sort of every class just feels fantastic.
I said the same thing with I said that with these types of games, the ARPG types,
Mm.
it's very difficult, or at least a lot of companies don't seem to manage to make you feel connected to the character. You feel
Mm.
kind of like you're above them controlling a character instead of you are that character. With Lost Ark, it's just not like that. All of the combat feels extremely visceral. It's all very punchy. It's impactful, and you really feel like you're playing that character, like you are that character.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it grab a lot of people right away, is because you immediately start in kind of like a training area when you're picking your advanced class, and you get to
Mm.
try out everything. You get to use all the moves. You get to see how cool they look. You get to see how it feels, and I think from that moment, people are like, "Oh, combat
Yeah.
feels good."
And even some of your basic moves, like you're used to in these kinds of games, you're like, okay, cool, you know what, I start off at like level 1, for the next like 10, 20, 30 levels, I'm gonna get some cool-ish abilities, but they're gonna feel a little bit weak when compared to when I get like the ultimate Nova Bomb or something at the end. But then in this one, like when you start, even some of your starting moves just feel super cool. Like they're just like they look cool, they have all that feedback, and then you get progressively more moves. But I think the thing with this is that there's so many layers to like absolutely everything. You have your moves, and it's like, okay, cool, I've got them, fine. But then the game has a thing called a tripod system. So like you spend points into the moves, and then in doing so, you can then basically add like modifiers. Sometimes it's just something like do more damage, shorten the cooldown. But then as you go further down the tripod system, it will actually change the way that move behaves. And that's what you do on like the leveling process. But then when you get to like the end game stuff and you start putting engravings in, and then you start getting to higher tier content, that then changes again. So some of your builds will drastically change the way your characters play. Um, so you have a whole degree of customization on there. But it's just, I mean, there's the whole scope of the game is just like insane to the point where people find it daunting and confusing because you play through like level 1 to 50, which is when you get to like end game, and then they say like then the game begins because there's just like a load of stuff you can do, and you think about often you have like MMOs, you log in for like your dailies and you do your weeklies and stuff, which this game still has, but then there's just like so many more things to do. You've got like life skills if you want to go and level up like different skills and crafting things. You've got islands you can explore. Like you go through the game and you will quote unquote like complete the story, and you wouldn't even touch half the world. You can go on and get your sailing boat and go off to all these different small islands. They've all got their own quest chains and all stories and stuff. And it's just like the game is huge.
It's a massive game.
That's kind of interesting about this game is that because it has been out and been being played for several years now, right? It's a game that we don't have to go through those growing pains with. Like it's already done.
Yes.
It's not done,
Yeah.
but MMOs are never going to be done. But it's ready for us. Like it's content complete. Like it's not like, oh, this is cool, but like this system is completely broken and there's not enough content and like the normal MMO stuff that launches. It's like it's a really unique experience for us in the
It is, yeah.
in the West.
It will keep the end game is just so expansive, and I think that's the main issue that a lot of these kind of games end up running into. The games that you're supposed to play forever, And Destiny's had that problem. All these games have had that problem.
Every one of them.
Every single one.
Yeah.
But the end game is so massive and deep in Lost Ark that you have so much to do just forever. And that's without them adding something new, which I'm sure obviously they will be adding to the game.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, as well, like, because it's out in Korea, they have more content. They have, like, there are more classes that we have yet that will be coming to our version. They have, like, new seasons of content. So they are well ahead. So it's not only do we have this like, massive game that you can literally spend, like, you could be playing this version of launch for the next, like, month or a few months anyway, easily. And then there's more content that is already in Korea that we will eventually be getting. So, like, they're continuing to just expand on this. So, and I mean, some of those, and it's not even one of those things where it's like, oh, we're just playing catch up in Korea, like their game is done. Like they're also still continuing to build that. Like just recently, they announced like 2 new classes coming to the Korean version. So even they're building on their game exists, like, continually. So this is one of those things where, I mean, it seems to have been received like really well so far, and I hope it kind of continues to go that way because it is a fantastic game. I know obviously there's some server issues and stuff, but genuinely, like if it is one of those games that people continue to enjoy and they can sort of level out the server stuff, I could see this becoming like one of those like long-term games people are playing, like Warcraft and Guild Wars and things like that, because it's just so much potential.
Yeah, definitely. It's just so fun. Fight things. Fighting
Everything about this game sounds awesome except for the time commitment. I'm just so scared of it.
Yeah.
I'm so scared of it.
It is. I will say the one thing is like it. I mean, it is definitely a time commitment because it is an MMO. And obviously the nature of MMOs means that some stuff is daily, some stuff is weekly. I will say they have quite a nice system in this game where they do respect your time, like even down to like some of the daily activities. You've got these dungeons you can go into and other things like that. They've got like this rest system whereby if you don't log in for a few days, you get this rest stuff that's accumulated. And then when you go and finally do that activity, you get double rewards to basically make up for the days that you missed, up to a point. So it's not, so while there are still points where like if you don't play for a week, you'll miss out on some stuff, but it won't punish you for not logging in every single day. And I do also think the way they've kind of structured it as well is there's like different ways to approach content for like different kinds of people. So like if you're heavily into that kind of endgamey stuff, like big hard dungeons and stuff, you can do that. But there's also plenty of other activities you can spend your time doing to also get that kind of stuff. So I feel like they do support different paces of play. So it is kind of, to a degree, something that you could play casually and just like slowly chip away at over time. And I still feel like you'd have a good experience.
Yeah, I think so. Because I went into it knowing full well that I'm sure I will log on and do like daily stuff. Like I can do that in the evening, just log in and do some daily stuff. But I went into it knowing full well that it will essentially be dropped for I don't know how long with Witch Queen and Elden Ring and then all the games in March. But it's not a thing where I feel like I'm going to be missing out. I can progress at kind of my own pace and I'll get to the super end game stuff eventually, but there's so much game there to enjoy just as a solo player playing a video game that I wanted to hop in while I had a chance.
Yeah.
Well, the hopping is fresh. The hopping is hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Well, I'm looking forward to checking this out. I hope. I just, I don't know. I don't know if I want to get into an MMO, even if it's a good one,
It is definitely like, I know there was a time where, because I used to like be like big into WoW and stuff. There was a time where like, I loved MMOs and like, every time I tried to get into a new one, I was like, I would always kind of, try for a bit and fall off. And I was like, I think maybe just like my time with MMOs is done. And generally speaking, I still stand by that. Like I tried to get back into Guild Wars 2 a while back because I just really like Guild Wars anyway, but I couldn't do it. I tried with like New World, it didn't really click with me and stuff. I think for me, obviously, I was slightly biased with Lost Ark because I played it back in like the Korean beta like years ago, and like I've been looking forward to it ever since. So I guess I was willing to like sit through it for that one, and I feel like this one just has so much stuff that it kind of it's sort of like made me deviate from that stance. But yeah, MMOs they're just hard to get into because there's just so much stuff to to do, and I say with like so many different games coming out, it's completely understandable. But I guess the nice thing with Lost Ark at least is that because it is free to play, you could at least just like if you felt like if there was like a time later in the year where it's like, oh, we're in a bit of a gaming drought, like a lot of the releases have come out and we're just like, I'm looking for something to play. You could just hop in and just jump through and run through some stuff because even early on, like a lot of the time in these games, like the good stuff is later. But even playing through the campaign, some of the dungeons are so cinematic, like dungeons that in other games would be pretty like forgettable. You're like, oh, I'll run through, fight a boss, whatever. Like some of these ones have got like set pieces in and things like that, and it's just like they're just super cool. And you can do that in the first like 10 hours of the game.
Yeah,
Really?
the
Is there a lot of
dungeons are
story?
super good. Yeah, there's a good chunk of story. It's whether you want to listen to it. But so with the story, I read enough to where I understand what's happening. I'm like, okay, I understand the general idea that we're doing. Because when there are those big set piece story missions, I want to know why I'm like storming this massive castle. Why are there legions of demons flying from the sky into portals? Like I want to know why it's happening. But those set pieces are so enjoyable though. And that's just story stuff. That's you just going through the story leveling up.
Yeah, I can't tell you about the story at all because when you
There's
go to interact with
demons.
someone, yeah, that was
Stop
that's
demons.
it. Because when you go through and like you interact, like G is your interact button by default. So like in the questing experience, that's one thing that's really cool about it. Like if you think about going back to level characters in like World of Warcraft and stuff, the questing experience is quite a slog and it's quite slow. With this one, I walk up to people and I just go spam like G G G G G G G, skip through conversations. I've got my quest. Walk to the next person. G G G G G G. So I couldn't tell you a single thing. I've not read a single line of dialogue, but I've had the greatest time.
It's just
I apologize to anyone that wrote the story.
the combat is just really enjoyable. Dungeons are enjoyable, which the story takes you through. These big set piece story missions are super enjoyable. So it's just you don't even really need to know what's going on to fully enjoy the game. Which is it's good for both players. If you want to know, you got that extra little bit of information to know why this thing is happening. If not, you're gonna storm a castle and it's gonna be cool.
Mm.
Makes
Nice.
you feel cool. Like, when we were saying with Ghost of Tsushima, like, it just makes you feel cool.
Yeah.
I think Lost Ark's one of those games where you just
Yeah.
feel cool.
Okay.
It does a great job at that.
All right. I like feeling cool.
It does
Yeah.
make you feel cool. And the new classes that are coming out as well. Like, I'm excited for them. Like, when they finally get into the game, it's like, oh, that's a class I want to play. And a Lost Ark does a very nice thing where if you get to level 50, you get a pass to just get another character to level 50.
Oh,
So you
that's
don't
cool.
need to go through all the stuff again. You just can go right into the end game stuff.
That's nice.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
What class should I pick if I start?
What do you like?
Yeah.
Cool stuff. Michael Bay movies, explosions, Ewoks, Gremlins before they turn green,
What do you play in Destiny?
Hunter, and Warlock if I'm forced to.
Do you like to run up and hit things in the face, or do you like to be like stealthy and sneak behind stuff?
Run up, hit things in the face.
I would say be a berserker. You have a giant
Berserker.
great sword,
I like the sound
but
of that.
not in the convention.
You like
when you
big
normally
sword.
say yeah, but when you normally say big swords with other classes, you think, oh, that's gonna be slow and clunky. This guy can move, can roll with a great sword, flip things up in the sky, cause like eruptions on the ground, and you just like crack the ground open with like a giant sword.
That does sound good.
They're all
I was
very
watching some YouTube this morning, Eric, and you put up a review for Horizon Forbidden West.
The reviews
Yes.
are out.
Yeah.
They are.
So tell me a little bit about Horizon.
Yeah, so it's like a combined effort between like myself and my friend on the team that's sort of been playing it. So like I haven't. So it's a shared experience. But yeah, I mean it's like it is obviously I'm not going to touch on like anything story related or anything like that. And obviously I can't speak about the super specifics. But the game is just like, I mean, if you liked Horizon 1, it's just like everything you liked before, but just bigger and better. Like more machines, bigger world, like more gear, more weapons. Like I feel like, because you know how when Horizon 1 first came out, it was like brand new things. Obviously, they're having to prove themselves, right? And I think they said in like interviews afterwards, there were a lot of things they wanted to do, like even down to like the scope of machines. Like in Horizon 1, there were some cool machines, but there weren't as many as they wanted. And I think they said in an interview like they couldn't get them in time. So it's almost like now that they have proven themselves with Horizon 1, it's like Sony was like, here's all the money, do whatever you want, and they were just like, right, let's get to work. Right. And it's just like, it's just huge.
I've heard nothing but incredible things about this game.
I don't understand.
I did hear.
I don't understand. It's too good.
I did actually want to ask you, like, because I did see some serious bugs. Like some people were showing off some pretty serious bugs, like graphical stuff. did that distract from the experience at all? Do you think I should wait until they come out with a couple of patches, or did it really not matter too much? Just jump right in.
It's hard to say. I think there's depends. Different people are bothered by these things differently. Like there's definitely some there's some obvious like lod popping and stuff. So like especially when you get like the glider and stuff, and you're like gliding over like these really like amazing scenery, and you see things popping in. I mean, I am definitely one of those people that is a lot less bothered about that stuff. Like if I walk down the road and a tree appears in front of me, I don't really care. But someone will be like, my immersion has been ruined. How could you do this to me? So there definitely are some of those things. There's some sort of like visual bugs like here or there. I do think it is something they'll probably like address like a patch anyway. But I personally wouldn't say it in any way ruin the experience or anything like that. I mean, the game just like overall looks incredible. And I feel like when you have so many like fantastic things visually to look at, I feel like the odd sort of like thing here or there, you can kind of look past it. If it was like a really rough game and I'm dealing with that, then I'd be like, you know. So yeah, I think it's okay. And the
Does this
grass
one
looks hella
start
fluffy, like super fluffy?
Yeah. Does this one start like right after the last one? Should I like?
Yes.
Should you play the first one first, or like can you just start in?
I don't know what your opinion is on it, Eric. So I was watching Skill Up's review, and he said that it starts like a couple days after the last one, and there's a lot of terminology that's used that is speaking about, you know, people and things from the previous game.
Yeah,
and they go pretty deep on that, I've heard.
Yeah, there's definitely like I think it's one of those things where if you have like, I mean, it kind of depends on how you want to go into it, right? Like, technically speaking, if you were like, I like open worldy games, I couldn't care less about the story. Sure, you can jump in, have some fun with it. But if you are like, I want to like, story is an important thing to me. Like, I would say the first one is important because exactly that point. Like, you're diving straight into it. It definitely assumes prior knowledge. Like, you know, you're right from the start is referencing characters that like you meet in the game, and it's like, well, if you didn't know that, they're not going to tell you, by the way, here's a quick 5-minute recap, here's who this character is. It's like, all right, cool, we're in the deep end. So yeah, if you are jumping in with the intention of like playing it as a story-based game and you want to know what's going on, you need to play the first one. If you're just like, oh, this looks like a cool open world, I want to go and fight some big ass machines and just collect some stuff and explore a world, then jump in wherever you want.
Maybe watch like a recap video of the first story. Something like that.
Yeah.
You could probably do that.
5-minute recap.
Oh, wow. 5 minutes. Normally I'm watching like 2-hour recap videos of like, here's the story.
It was hard to do it in 5
There
minutes.
is curling to watch. I don't have time for 2-hour recap. The Olympic curling is on.
Is it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Riveting.
Well, that last match, the women versus Korea, the U.S. women versus Korea, it was a banger.
Really?
You know what else was a banger? The Super Bowl halftime show.
Holy shit, that was amazing.
It really was. I was excited about that for a long time. Well, so Eric, it was Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige. Together.
All of them.
All of them. Yeah.
It was amazing. Is that on YouTube? I want to rewatch it.
It is. I immediately rewatched it. I was like, I need this in my headphones as high as possible.
Last night I was playing Olli Olli World, watching the first half of the Super Bowl. I don't really care. I'm not enough of a football fan to watch football if my team isn't in it, especially the Super Bowl. But I had heard about this halftime show, so I wanted to watch that. And curling didn't start till 8:05, so that was after the halftime show, which was perfect. So it was amazing. It really was. I turned up the stereo when it came on. My wife came downstairs because she was already up in bed. She came downstairs to watch it because she heard it. And she's like, what is going on? Oh, shit. Is that Snoop Dogg? They forgot about Dre again?
It was, I think every like person who was old enough in the 90s to know they were in the 90s was just having the time of their life.
It was good. It was real good. And it was the first time that hip hop or rap has been featured, like the feature act in the Super Bowl halftime show. It was really cool. It was funny.
It was awesome.
What's his name? Eminem took a knee, even though the NFL expressly asked him not to, which I respected. I'll be honest with you.
Well, so Dr. Dre had to put up $7 million of his own money for the stage. So if NFL ain't paying you for your time, not paying for the stage, I don't think they can have a say in really anything.
The stage was amazing. It was like a city block, but like you could rotate around it and like see inside different houses and businesses and rooms, and everybody was doing their own. It was amazing. It was really well produced and awesome.
It was very, very good.
Just like the match between Korea and the U.S. Those Peterson sisters, man, they got it going on. They really do. Banging those rocks.
Is calling the one where they clean the floor to like try and make it stop the thing.
My wife calls it Swiffering. They're Swiffering in front of them.
Swiffering. It's a good word.
Oh dear. I thought curling was only done during like the Winter Olympics, but maybe I was wrong.
That technically it is the Winter Olympics.
It's not the Summer Olympics, sir. It's not summer.
Yeah, usually they take place. The summer ones are in the summer. The winter ones are in winter.
You are correct. This is why I only watch powerlifting. I'm sorry. That's it. That's it.
While I've been watching curling, I've been watching a lot of curling. I got to be honest with you. Every match. I've been watching the men's and the women's every match, and they're like 3 hours long. But I've been playing Olli Olli World while I'm watching. Okay. And I got to tell you, this game is possibly my new favorite Switch game of all time. It is so fun. So this is a skateboarding game. It's kind of a funny format. Is it takes place on like a Super Mario World style map where you kind of like select your levels on the map and you go there. And there's like characters and dialogue, and it's kind of like set up on like you're trying to become like a skate wizard and commune with the skate gods. It's kind of like a silly story that's pretty much throwaway, but it's kind of like got a really cool aesthetic, like almost like a pastel aesthetic that, I don't know, hits me pretty well. Like I just really enjoy the look of it. But what really is cool about this game is the gameplay. Each level is a track that you have to, get through to progress to the next track. But they also have challenges for score and for different things that you can find on the track, or different things to do on each track. So like there might be like 4 crystals that you got to pull a specific maneuver through, like a special trick while you're hitting the crystals to get them all. And they have different, each track, not every track, but most of the tracks have different lanes that you can switch between the different lanes. So that, like, there's a little bit of variety there, but it's just the gameplay feel of this thing that makes it so special. It takes a long time to figure this out. For me, it may be longer than you, but you don't jump with the A button. You jump by kind of maneuvering your stick, your left stick. So, like, for instance, like if you are skating along and there's a rail that you want to grind on, you have to kind of pop your stick up, or in any direction really, to jump your board to do like an ollie or something, and then you have to hit another direction on the left stick to push your board in a direction to grind it on that rail, and then to get off of that rail, to jump off of that rail, you have to push your stick another direction to do another trick to get off of the rail. And you keep learning stuff like this, and it gets more and more complex as you go, but it gives you long enough between each lesson that it starts to feel more and more natural, that you really start to do some cool stuff, and you really start reacting to what's coming in front of you. It's a really good feeling game.
Yeah, that's impressive.
It is.
Makes me want to check it out.
It's really good. I think it's like $30. I'm playing it on the Switch. I think it's available on PC as well. But the nice thing about the Switch version is it's kind of like a perfect like pick up and play experience, because each level is only going to be, to complete it is going to be like 2 minutes if you beat it on your first time. You're not going to beat it on your first time. Normally, you're going to have to restart a bunch of times, but it has like an instant restart feature, kind of like almost like Super Meat Boy, where you just tap the button, you instantly restart and can give it another shot. I don't know. It's like that perfect experience for the Switch where you can just kind of like pick it up, play a little bit, and then put it down. And I don't know. I'm really loving this game. It is if this isn't in my top 5 by the end of the year, it's going to be a hell of a year for video games.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, this game is real good.
That is, yeah. Okay, yeah.
When the Steam Deck comes out, I definitely want to check it out on the Steam Deck too, because having that bigger screen will be nice.
Did you? If I forgot, you did pick up an OLED in the end, didn't you?
Yeah, by accident. Yeah.
Are you now happy with your purchase? Now you can play Olli Olli World in bright.
I have been warming up to it. I just $350 for the Switch OLED. It's too much. They're charging too much for that thing.
Yeah.
I really think
it is
that.
expensive.
Yeah. But I do like it. It's just that I feel a little burnt on the price.
No, that's understandable. Yeah, definitely.
I wanted to tell you guys about another game I've been playing. I've been meaning to bring this one up for a few weeks now. It's called Teardown. Have you guys seen this game?
No.
Teardown. No, I haven't.
This one I downloaded on Steam, and this game is for the people who want to watch the world burn. It's not about building stuff. It's about tearing shit down.
I just see explosions everywhere.
Yeah, imagine Minecraft in reverse. Like, you know the kind of person that shows up on your Minecraft server, and instead of building this beautiful castle, he just starts like planting TNT all over the place. This is your game.
That is me.
Your game.
I'm like, oh, you built your house out of wood? Oh, wouldn't it be a shame if I set this on fire?
It's got like a story mode, which you have to play through just to get all the cool tools to like really start blowing shit up. And the story mode is like you're kind of a fixer. You go in and like you're trying to like help the mob like erase crimes or get rid of stuff. You know, it doesn't really matter. You're just trying to like go into levels, either destroy something or steal something before the cops come and figure it out. But what it really ends up being is just like a destruction simulator 3000. And it uses this voxel physics engine, 3D pixels, basically, a voxel game engine that it blows up so magnificently. Everything that you see can be like dug into or broken or destroyed. Everything that you see.
Really?
Yeah. The car, like you get a steam shovel and you start digging into like a building to get into like whatever you got to get. There's one level where I had to blow up a boathouse, and instead of blowing it up, I just took out the dock underneath it, so it just sunk into the water.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is.
This actually looks so much fun.
It is super fun. There's another one, actually the same level. I had to steal a car that was on a boat. So what I did is I just backed up the boat and I kept banging it against the bridge until the back end of the boat fell off the boat, and I was able to just drive the car off of the boat onto the bridge. That honestly, the boat fell in the water too because there's big potholes on the boat on the bridge from
banging it. Yep.
Yeah, it should have been predictable, but it's an amazing game. It looks really good. It's going to burn your computer down though.
Right, okay.
Just FYI.
I really like the voxel look to it. Like, it's funny because in some screenshots it looks like almost like realistic, and then suddenly you get close and you see the bricks. I like the visual style for it. I'm watching like the video for it now. It looks super cool. Like this, I don't know why. I don't know why. Because it's like obviously it's a different kind of game, but like when you first mentioned it and I saw a few screenshots, straight away I just thought like, do you remember Blast Core?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of got those vibes because it was just like if that one you're just trying to destroy stuff to clear space for stuff to go through.
Yeah,
I was like, I want to play this.
Oh, this is good. This is a good game, and it's my biggest complaint is the campaign. The campaign can be a little restraining. Like you just want all the tools. I wish there was just like a free play mode where you could just have all the tools and just go nuts, like right at the beginning. Because the campaign you slowly progress. Like you get a shotgun on the 3rd level, you get like something else on the 4th level. You get it slowly gives you the tools that eventually allow you to destroy everything. It's fun and it's cheap, but it's heavy. It's a heavy weight on your computer. If you want to test out that new graphics card, see how hot you can get that fucker, this is your game.
Damn.
What was the name of that game again?
Teardown.
Teardown.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Capcom has a timer up on their website for 6 days from now.
Yeah.
What's that about?
That amount?
I don't know.
What's that about?
Oh, I think it's Street Fighter 6. I think.
Ooh.
Because
That'd be cool.
it lands at the end on February 20th, the end of the Capcom Pro Tour event. So it may be that they're going to announce Street Fighter 6 at the end of the Capcom Pro Tour event for Street Fighter 5, which would be dope. I'm really looking forward to Street Fighter 6 or
what would you want to see in
it?
What would you want in that? Because you've been playing quite a lot of Street Fighter 5 recently, right?
Yeah. I'd like to see like a new art style because Street Fighter 5 looks a lot like Street Fighter 4 did. You know, there wasn't a lot of progression there. It looks better, but I'd like to see a new art style. I'm not such a Street Fighter expert that I could tell you like system wise like what I'm hoping for. I just like playing Street Fighter, you know, so like more Street Fighter is going to be fun to me. You know, I cannot tell you the intricacies, the fine details between Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5. I can do a fireball and a dragon punch.
That's what I mean. Yeah. No, that's fair.
But yeah, that would be fun. It could be anything though, you know, that's
They haven't spoken about Pragmata for a long time. Remember that game, the kind of weird Death Stranding looking like one where it was like a guy in a spacesuit with like the girl, and there was like, I mean that they revealed, and they've just been like silent since.
That game looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks awesome, but it's also just like I don't know what it is. Like, is this like Capcom's Death Stranding? Like, it's or maybe Dragon's Dogma 2. Give us that, please.
Oh, I have a copy of Dragon's Dogma. I have not played it yet. I have to play that.
Have you not?
No.
It is a fantastic game. It is a fantastic game. Yeah,
just
still
haven't
holds up
gotten
quite well
around
as well.
FL Coastal in chat thought it might be the RE4 remake. I have not heard anything about the RE4 remake.
Hey, we had enough Resident Evil. Get out of here. Resident Evil
I
is boring.
remember them saying something somewhere recently, but I don't know.
If it was coming out this year, we'd hear about it by now, right? Because we were full on like hanging off Big Girl by this time last year.
True.
True. They did just make a RE4 for VR.
Yeah, I feel like we had too much Resident Evil lately. Enough zombies. Give us something else. You know what? Capcom, give me a Lost Planet sequel.
Yes, I'm with you. Yes.
Wait, let's forget about Lost Planet 3. Doesn't exist, right? Lost Planet 2, pinnacle.
Just call it Lost Planet. Just like a reboot of the series. We're back to the frozen world. Like mysteries abound.
That's what I want. Honestly, like that was back in the day, right? Obviously, that was pre-YouTube days, right? And that was like, those are the days for me when it was like I would go into a game shop and I would look at a box, or I would make my purchase decisions based on like the back of a box or like a single trailer. And I was like, when I first saw the trailer for like Lost Planet, because I bought like a PS3 and I was looking for a few things to play, and I was like, well, I like snow, I like grappling hooks, I like mechs. This game has all three. What's not to like? And I think I even downloaded the demo, and I just got addicted to like the multiplayer, like being able to get in a mech suit and walk around and stomp on people, and then you got grenade, like everything about it. I love that game.
That was one of the first demos that was available on the Xbox 360 when the Xbox 360 launched, and that's how I heard about it. And I downloaded it because it was like one of the few things. I'm like, oh, this is neat. You can download shit on your console now. That was a pretty new thing. I fell in love with that demo too, man. That demo was insane.
It was so good. Like that was the only game where like I'm not a competitive person. When it comes to gaming, I'm just gonna play, have fun. Like when the second there's competitive leaderboards, I'm just like, I don't belong here. I got competitive in number 2. Like I got to the point where I was like, I think there was one time where I was like number 400 in the world, which people tried to tell me there were only like 450 people that were playing it. It's like, but regardless, I felt really good. I used to sit there, and there was actually like a lobby I would go on every morning, and there was like a load of sort of like Chinese players, and we would just sort of like jump in together, and it was just like that was literally my day. I love that game.
I didn't follow that series. I love the first one, but I don't even think I played Lost Planet 2 or Lost Planet 3.
They did some really good stuff. Like with number 2, they went like bigger in scope. It was still fantastic, and they introduced like large scale monster fights. So it almost felt like Lost Planet meets Monster Hunter.
Okay.
Then Lost Planet 3, like it just didn't do anything new, and the story was a bit like meh. And there was like I can't even pinpoint what it was, but Lost Planet 3 just didn't feel great. So like it's just a bit kind of forgettable. But yeah, like Lost Planet 1 and 2. Whew.
Maybe I should pick up a copy of Lost Planet 2. Because I really love that first game. I have strong love. strong affinity for that game.
I feel like they're
It was
never
such an
ever going to do it
early
again. But like,
Xbox 360 and PS3 experience too, or PS3. Yeah, there's been too many PlayStations. That fucking Jay Sniperton was asking me if I thought that the PS3 and the Xbox 360 are retro consoles. Do you guys think that the PS3 and Xbox 360 are retro?
yeah, I don't know what qualifies retro, but like, I personally wouldn't. For me, like I still just like for me retro. I wouldn't even consider the GameCube a retro console at the moment. For me, like N64 is like where I consider retro. Even that, because I guess maybe for me, because I grew up with the N64 as like one of my prime consoles, I don't even see that as retro. I'm just like, to me, like Sega Master System or Mega Drive, that's more retro.
I mean, that's solid retro. Master System, for sure. N64, I would definitely consider retro. I would even consider the GameCube retro. I think what my hang up is with the PS3 and the Xbox 360 is you can still play GTA 5 on those. Like they had internet connections. The games look better, but they play the same. You know what I mean? Like there hasn't been like some evolutionary jump in video games since the PS3. Like they just got better looking since the PS3, PS4, PS5.
The classification for retro should be: do you have to go and find another TV to play your games console?
And you do not with the PS3 or the Xbox 360. They have HDMI.
If you can plug it in to your current system without some newfangled like mod thing, then no. If you have to go and dust off a big old CRT and break your back trying to put it out, then maybe we're talking retro.
I know that Watts remembers, though, you had to have an HDMI splitter if you wanted to record off of the PS3 because it had copyright protection on it, which was fucking annoying.
All those wires, even if you were just straight up recording with like a capture card back then, there were so many wires. And then you needed more wires to... those were the days.
Yeah, the PS3... The PS3 shipped with component cables, though. Or no, composite. The yellow, white, and red.
Yeah,
even though it had an HDMI port on it.
I was back in the day when the old school... Do you remember the old school capture card everyone used to have? The Hauppauge HD PVR, the square one with the light around the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, once I upgraded...
That was the best one back then. That really was. It was the best.
And I once upgraded to the Gamer Edition, which did nothing different apart from that it had a green light, but I was like, it's black and green. I want it. They just got my money.
They stole that shit like they owed you money.
Yep.
That was a pretty reliable capture card for back then.
Shout out to them. The goats.
So a lot of them were pretty.
I don't think they exist anymore.
I don't think they do either.
I don't think they do either, even though they kind of like were pioneers in that space, right? It was them and Elgato.
Yeah.
I think even Elgato came later, right? Elgato.
Back in the day, I didn't know the name Elgato. It was just
they were making like Mac stuff, I think, until they made that the HD. What was it? The Game Capture HD?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
With USB port. Okay, anyway, I'm on the wrong podcast, so sorry. Podcast is spilling over. Does the Wii count as retro?
Nah, it's too new. You can hook it up to a current TV. It's HDMI. No.
I don't think the Wii is HDMI.
Wii's too new. No.
I mean, it's still. I don't even think it's 16:9. I think it's 4:3.
I think if your controller's got a joystick, no. Your controller needs to have a D-pad and 2 buttons. If you've got anything more than that, it's not retro.
Oh, so even the Super Nintendo isn't retro for you?
No, not enough. No.
It is an interesting conversation of like, when do these things, when do you eventually look back at these things and go, that's a retro game, that's a retro console?
Yeah.
It's hard when you're the generation who grew up with it. It is tough to be like, we have to die. When we're dead, they can call it a retro console.
That's right.
Exactly.
And you can start calling like the bands I liked in high school classic rock at that point too. Not until I'm dead.
Well, I listen to a classic radio station sometimes. I'm in the car and they play all the songs I grew up with.
Yes.
So,
and fuck them for doing it.
When my beard goes grey, then you can say or tell me the N64 is a retro console. When I'll be like, back in my day, I used to blow into the cartridge. Until that happens, till my beard is grey, it is not a retro console. Yeah.
Yes.
Someday the Switch will be retro.
When I'm dead.
I hope not.
Maybe
I hope you're
longer
not
than
dead
that.
by then, because I don't think it's that far away. It's like I think it's like 15, 20 years.
Beg your pardon? No.
Oh, that was good.
Oh dear.
Should we wrap this one up? We got anything else we want to talk about?
Well, the next week's kicking up. We've got the Destiny is launching their launch trailer for Witch Queen. I'm sure we're gonna see like a bunch of stuff for Elden Ring. We've got Horizon coming out this week, right?
Yeah, that's Friday, right? It comes out.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's Friday,
Is there any way to get it early other than throw you $100?
I think the only way you get it, the earliest way you get it will be on a Thursday if you take a little visit to Australia.
Okay.
Change your console.
I wasn't saying that. I was merely saying if you take a little visit to Australia, however you do that, it's entirely up to you.
I've never done that before.
No, I've said nothing. No.
I am looking forward to that game. It does look really good. I really enjoyed the first one too.
Big as well, so like if you want to get it done.
Man.
busy.
I know for sure. So it's getting dropped like a hot potato right when Witch Queen comes out. There's absolutely no way. So that's why I was like, I don't want to feel, especially with a game that's that big and the open world content is so good and the side quests are so good that I wouldn't want to just beeline it and rush it. And if I don't do that, I'm not going to come back to the game probably because who knows when I'm going to have time. So if I'm going to play a game that I think I will enjoy a lot that is that big, I think it would make sense to just wait.
It's always a good consumer decision to wait, right? You get the game cheaper, it'll probably be patched.
Yeah, I definitely feel like of those kind of games as well. I feel like they are the kinds of games where you can and should wait till you can enjoy it properly. Because as you say, like especially when it's like such a big, expansive world, if you do that and you get partway through and you have to pause it and come back and you can't remember stuff, it's gonna kind of ruin your experience. So definitely, like play it at a time where you can appreciate it and play it like all the way through. And I mean, to be honest as well, I feel like there's plenty of time coming up because like February and March have been so jam-packed. But like after that, at the moment, like we don't have a lot of dates for games on the horizon like post-April, right? So like at the moment, we might have like a little sort of gaming drought for a bit before we then get the next stuff. So it might well be that come April, you've got like a nice big window where like I can do nothing but play Horizon for a week. Like just, so I don't feel the need to rush it when there's so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can only juggle 2 games. I don't know how I could possibly juggle 3 games. You'd be doing like 2 hours a week today.
I believe.
You'd be doing impossible. Even doing 2 is going to be rough because I'm going to be like, oh, my 4 hours of Destiny are up, gotta switch. Oh, my 4 hours of Elden Ring are up, gotta switch.
4 hours of Elden Ring is just like 20 deaths from a boss.
Yeah.
That's if you don't have to grind for some kind of material between deaths, like in Demon Souls.
Well, so playing the network test, 3 hours was just nothing. So I'm a little worried. 4 is not going to be enough at all.
No,
definitely not going to be enough. So, I was like, in that amount of time, I've just explored like the shoreline and found 2 dungeons, and then it's time to leave. It's not enough time.
You just cut out sleep. You don't need that shit anyway. It's a complete waste of time. It's like 8 hours right there that you could be playing Elden Ring.
Whoa! Sleep. I know this is a gaming podcast. I do not condone missing sleep. Sleep is where you recover. It's where you make the gains. I rep sleep. I will always sleep over games.
Well, I can't. I can't.
He's not a doctor. He doesn't know.
Could. I wish I could miss sleep or be one of those crazy people who could do 2 hours of sleep a night. But I get a headache because I'm tired. If I'm tired, I get a headache. I get a migraine. I feel nauseous, and then I just have to go to sleep anyway. But now I just feel worse.
If I get 7.5 hours of sleep instead of 8 hours, I whine about it all day. Everybody in the house knows I didn't get enough sleep last night.
Oh dear.
All right.
I can't do it. Oh, it's getting close, guys. It's getting real close.
Yeah.
Next week's gonna be a big one.
Before the madness.
Yeah. I mean, Witch Cream and and Elden Ring. Like those are the two for me for the year,
Mm.
right? It's like those are the two
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. So it's just gonna be bliss for I don't know, probably a couple of months for me because it's gonna take me forever to beat
same.
Elden Ring.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, same because I'm gonna. As much as I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go do the main stuff, but there's so much cool things that are hidden in dungeons or in different areas. And when you hear if someone comes in chat and they're like, oh, around here I found this super cool weapon, I'm like, well, I gotta go do
Gotta
that.
go find that before
Yeah.
I forget
I
about it.
gotta. I gotta go do it. I'm gonna need a map where I like mark down where I've been. I know you can do it on the map, but
I was hoping that one of the special editions would come with like a cloth map or something that you could put push pins
I
into.
would love.
Yeah.
A
Wouldn't that be
cloth
cool?
map.
That would've been
How come nobody makes maps for the games anymore?
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
That
That's
used to
true,
be pretty
actually.
common.
They were super common. Basically, every game came with a map of its world.
Yeah. Well, that's because they couldn't put it in the video game. They just couldn't fit it on a cartridge. Till the wonder of CDs came along. All right, should we wrap this one up, guys?
Let's
Yep.
wrap it up.
Been a good show.
All right. What episode
It's
was this?
been
128. Thank you guys for watching episode 128. No retro slot this week, but we'll be back for DCP. Fallout was just here. Is there a firing range this week, or are they taking the week off?
I think there's a firing range this week.
Okay.
Yes, because they missed last week.
Okay.
So there will be a firing range this week.
Great.
That's right.
Something to look forward to. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.
See
Bye.
you later. Bye.
I don't know how to turn this thing off. Just gonna wing it here. I think it's this button.